On a Tuesday afternoon at 2:47 p.m., the marble lobby of First National Bank in downtown Chicago hums with the routine bustle of a typical banking day. Customers shuffle through lines, tellers process transactions, and the air carries the faint hum of fluorescent lights. David Williams, a 45-year-old man dressed in faded jeans and a gray hoodie, steps up to the counter with a $2.3 million business check. His casual appearance belies the weight of his presence, a fact that Marcus Wellington, the branch manager, fails to recognize. Wellington, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, seizes the check with a sneer, his judgment clouded by prejudice. In a dramatic flourish, he flicks open his silver lighter, ignites the check, and holds it aloft as flames consume the paper. The crowd gasps as he drops the burning document at David's feet, grinding the ashes into the pristine marble floor with his Italian leather shoe. He declares the problem solved, his voice ringing with self-assured authority as he accuses David of fraud in front of a growing audience. The lobby transforms into a stage for Wellington's performance. 3 customers pull out their phones, capturing the scene, while a blonde woman live-streams the incident, her whispered commentary fueling a rapidly climbing viewer count, 47, 156, 312, in mere moments. The acrid smell of charred paper fills the air, and thin wisps of smoke rise from the blackened remains scattered across the floor. David stands motionless, his white sneakers dusted with ash, his expression an unshakable mask of calm. The digital clock ticks to 2:48 p.m., marking 12 minutes until his critical board meeting. The security guard, hands on his radio, demands David leave, but he remains unfazed. His hand moves briefly toward his jacket pocket, pauses, then drops, a subtle gesture unnoticed by the crowd drawn to Wellington's theatrics. Wellington, emboldened by the attention, points to the smoldering ashes, proclaiming his triumph over what he calls a fake check. His words drip with condescension as he questions David's identity, accusing him of carrying a forged document meant to deceive the bank. The live stream surges, hashtags like "Bank Burns Check" trending across social media platforms. Comments flood in, many laced with racial undertones amplifying the spectacle. An elderly customer in a Chanel suit claps softly, praising Wellington's decisive action and endorsing his discriminatory stance. Other customers, including a businessman in a Brooks Brothers suit, nod approvingly, muttering that such measures send the right message. The bank's normal operations grind to a halt as the crowd clusters around, drawn by the smell of burned paper and the promise of drama. David's platinum Amex card peeks from his leather wallet as he reaches for his identification, but Wellington snatches the wallet before he can react, waving it like a trophy. He accuses David of possessing stolen credit cards, escalating his narrative of fraud. The security guard, now speaking urgently into his radio, calls for backup, citing a fraud suspect with destroyed evidence. David finally speaks, his voice unnaturally calm, cutting through the chaos with quiet authority. He requests his wallet back, suggesting Wellington will need to explain its possession to the police. His phone buzzes repeatedly, urgent calls he ignores as the clock reads 2:52 p.m. A first-class boarding pass to Tokyo protrudes slightly from his jacket pocket, a detail Wellington overlooks in his fervor. The live-stream viewer count climbs to 650, with comments celebrating Wellington's savage response and fueling the viral moment. Sarah Mitchell, the assistant manager, shifts uncomfortably behind the counter, her professional instincts nagging that something is amiss. She tries to interject, suggesting verification, but Wellington dismisses her, too intoxicated by his audience's validation. A teenager with purple hair films frantically from the ATM line, uploading to TikTok with captions like, "Bank manager burns fake check. A justice." Wellington, straightening his silk tie, basks in the attention, proclaiming his actions as a defense of honest Americans against criminals. The crowd's approval grows louder, with some customers openly supporting his discriminatory rhetoric. A heavy-set businessman near the window remarks that the police should have been called sooner, but the burning sent the right message. The lobby, once a place of routine transactions, now pulses with tension and spectacle. David's phone continues to buzz, signaling urgent board meeting alerts. He glances at the clock, 2:55 p.m., 5 minutes until the meeting begins. His composure, A stark contrast to the chaos hints at a deeper truth. Wellington mocks him, gesturing to the ash pile and accusing him of planning his next scam. The live-stream audience swells to 2,500, with comments growing increasingly hostile and racially charged. A well-dressed woman with a leather briefcase enters, pausing at the scene's intensity. A customer excitedly explains that the manager caught a scammer, burning his fake check in front of everyone. The woman, alarmed, pulls out her phone, joining the chorus of recordings. Wellington, noticing her, addresses her with theatrical flair, framing his actions as justice in action. At 2:58 p.m., David's expression shifts subtly, a flicker of amusement crossing his face. He checks his expensive Swiss watch, a detail unnoticed by Wellington's audience. 1 minute remains until his board meeting. The crowd grows hungrier, feeding off Wellington's performance. Sarah, increasingly uneasy, notices David's expensive Italian sneakers and the confident way he carries himself, details that don't align with Wellington's criminal narrative. She tugs at Wellington's sleeve, urging caution, but he waves her off, too consumed by his viral fame. David's phone buzzes one final time, and he allows himself a genuine smile, a signal that the tide is about to turn. At 3:00 p.m., the world shifts. David places a simple white business card on the marble counter beside the ashes. The security guard reads it, his face draining of color. The card identifies David Williams as the chairman and CEO of Williams Capital Group. Wellington laughs dismissively, claiming anyone can print fake business cards, but his confidence wavers. David, with practiced ease, opens a sleek tablet and navigates to the bank's board member portal, entering credentials that unlock a restricted access page. The screen displays his profile: David Williams, principal shareholder with a 73% ownership stake, chairman of the board since January 2018. The lobby falls silent. Sarah gasps, realizing the gravity of the mistake, while Wellington stammers, insisting the tablet's display is fake software. David turns the screen toward the crowd, ensuring everyone sees the undeniable truth. The live stream, now at 2,000 viewers, captures every pixel with comments erupting, "He owns the bank!" David swipes to financial records, revealing the burned check's legitimacy, a $2.3 million quarterly dividend payment to him as the majority shareholder. The silence deepens, broken only by the clatter of the security guard's radio hitting the floor. Wellington's face turns green, the weight of his actions crashing down. David reads from the tablet detailing Wellington's employee record: branch manager, $127,000 salary, hired March 15, 2018. He notes that Wellington has been working for him for over 6 years, a fact that shatters the manager's bravado. The crowd, once eager for drama, begins to retreat. The elderly Chanel customer, who had applauded Wellington's discrimination, edges toward the exit. The businessman, who suggested Wellington run for mayor, stares in horror. David opens the bank's governance documents, outlining the legal consequences of Wellington's actions. Discrimination violates federal law and corporate policy, with disciplinary actions including termination. Burning a legitimate check constitutes a federal crime under Section 1341, carrying fines up to $1 million and up to 20 years in prison. The live stream surges to 5,000 viewers, trending nationwide with hashtags like "Karma is real" and "Williams vs. Wellington." David presents Wellington with 2 options. Option 1, a public apology, sensitivity training, demotion to assistant manager with a 40% salary cut, $50,000 reimbursement for the destroyed check, and 200 hours of community service. Option 2, immediate termination, loss of pension, criminal referral, and a ruined career. Wellington's knees shake, the stolen wallet, David's wallet, burning in his pocket. David emphasizes the broader impact. The $2.3 million could have funded scholarships, loans, and community programs, making Wellington's prejudice a loss for the entire community. At 3:07 p.m., David raises his tablet, finger hovering over termination papers, giving Wellington 60 seconds to choose. With 30 seconds left, Wellington's resolve crumbles. He chooses option 1, turning to the live-stream camera to deliver a trembling apology. He admits to racist assumptions, destroying David's property and disrespecting him, addressing the 6,000 viewers and the lobby crowd. Comments shift, some dismissing his apology as too late, others noting his admission. Sarah begins typing, documenting the incident for corporate records. David instructs her to prepare Wellington's new contract, reflecting his demotion. He then announces sweeping changes to the bank's operations, driven by the incident's lessons. The new protocols include a dignity-first policy, ensuring identical service for all customers within 30 seconds. A respect monitor system will audit interactions monthly through an independent civil rights group. Mandatory quarterly training will cover unconscious bias and cultural sensitivity, with performance reviews tied to equitable treatment. Anonymous feedback kiosks and a hotline to David's office will empower customers to report issues. Monthly community advisory meetings will address concerns proactively. David kneels to gather the burned check's ashes, instructing Sarah to preserve them for a lobby memorial titled "The Cost of Assumptions," a permanent reminder of prejudice's consequences. Wellington returns David's wallet, a symbolic surrender. David assigns him community service at the Southside Financial Literacy Center, working with families he once judged, under the guidance of Mrs. Johnson, a 67-year-old African-American director. The live stream, now at 7,000 viewers, captures David's exit at 3:15 p.m., leaving a transformed lobby. In 12 minutes, he turned humiliation into education, discrimination into reform, and ashes into a movement. The crowd disperses, some ashamed, others inspired, as news outlets amplify the story. 6 months later, the First National Bank lobby features a prominent memorial display. The preserved ashes, encased in glass, rest on velvet beside a brass plaque reading, "The Cost of Assumptions." Visitors from across the country pause to reflect, taking photos and sharing stories of discrimination. Marcus Wellington, now assistant manager, arrives early at the Southside Financial Literacy Center every Saturday, carrying educational materials. He greets Mrs. Johnson with respect, a far cry from his former arrogance. His required 200 hours of service have stretched to 600, driven by a genuine desire to learn. He helps families like the Rodriguezes, whose loan was denied, explaining debt-to-income ratios with patience and empathy. Their gratitude humbles him, each interaction a reminder of his past mistakes. The viral video, now at 15 million views, has sparked a movement. Their fireproof worth trends globally, inspiring stories of inclusion and accountability. Sociology professor Dr. Sarah Lane incorporates the incident into her Northwestern University curriculum, highlighting how individual prejudice fuels systemic discrimination and how leadership can drive change. The footage, translated into 12 languages, informs corporate training worldwide, with companies adopting variations of David's Dignity First protocol. The Williams Standards, as they're now called, spread across industries, from retail to healthcare. Bias detection software, inspired by David's monitoring system, identifies discriminatory patterns, boosting minority customer satisfaction by 34% and overall retention by 18%. First National's stock rises 12%, driven by expanded community trust. Wellington's transformation continues. He sits with families, listening to their struggles, confronting his biases weekly. During a check-in with David, he admits his past belief that success meant exclusion. Now understanding it requires inclusion. David nods, noting that such wisdom is earned through relationships, not manuals. The memorial display includes a QR code linking to the video and resources on unconscious bias, encouraging visitors to examine their assumptions. Children ask about the ashes, adults share personal stories, and the phrase "the cost of assumptions" appears on posters and mugs, a daily reminder to prioritize dignity. The Williams Standards reshape industries. Independent monitoring identifies 47 bias incidents in the bank's network in the first quarter, addressed through early intervention. Quarterly training evolves into genuine education, with guest speakers sharing stories of discrimination. David's unannounced branch visits ensure standards remain high, while his Tokyo business expansion creates 200 jobs in underserved communities. His calm response to Wellington's prejudice achieved what anger could not: systemic healing. The burn checks lesson extends beyond banking. It challenges individuals to question biases, choose dignity over discrimination, and speak up against unfairness. Social media fills with fireproof worth stories, amplifying voices that demand respect. The ashes, once a symbol of destruction, now fertilize growth, proving that change requires only courage, wisdom, and commitment to human worth. David's story shows that one moment of prejudice can spark a movement, turning pain into progress and ashes into a foundation for a better future.